Hey guys, welcome back to another of my videos. Today I'm filling in for Bronco Batty, and I'll be working on my 66 Mustang instead. So she's not going to be a part of this video, but she's going to help out with the camera at times. So today I am installing and reviewing the Aldan American coilover kit for the 65-66 Mustang. And this is what it looks like. Super cool, great upgrade than what came on these Mustangs in the beginning. So there you can see Aldan American, super cool product. I'm excited to install this. It is fully adjustable too, and that's gonna be interesting to decide whether we want it low or high or in between. But you're gonna be a part of that all for us, and it's also got the dampening settings right here as well. But yeah, so I'm gonna go through this and show you everything that's in the box, and then everything that's due to get installed. All right, so here's a little look at everything that came in the box. We have your two coilover, fully adjustable. As you can see, all the threads that go up to the top and to the bottom. So everywhere that there's threads, this lock ring can be adjusted. And it came with this adjustable lock ring wrench. And then on top, you have your dampening screw, all your hardware, and your shock tower braces, which matches exactly where your original brace went in your shock. Don't mind the mess. I just rewired some areas, getting ready to drop the new motor, so that's why it looks as bad as it does. But trust me, there's a method to my madness, and I know what I'm doing, or at least I hope so. And then going back here, you can see the Aldan American logo. Came with a cool sticker, and this is the box for everyone that wants to order. I have to correct my previous statement. I said 65 to 66 Mustang. This is a 1964 to 1973 coilover kit, so it fits all those years. Great for everyone that wants to get this in your Mustang. I think they make a great kit for a great price, and it's supposed to be super easy to install, so that's what I'm here, and that's what we're going to figure out together. All right, so first step, you need to jack the car up and put a jack stand in there for safety. I picked this one up from Harbor Freight. It has the safety mechanism so that your jack won't just fall on you and crush you while you're under the car. After that, you want to take all your lug nuts off your wheel, which I already did. And then just pull your wheel off. One-handed wheel pull. Oh, it's so much harder on one hand. Bear with me. All right, one-handed wheel pull. Cool. And throw that out of the way for now. You're gonna knock about 30 years of rotor drum brake dust and mud daubers. So these will be getting replaced with all disc in the future, hopefully very soon. And we also have the manual steering box out of there, and we're getting a Borgeson power steering box put in, but that's for another video. So this is what we're focused on. This old cruddy coil system, and they actually put helper springs in there as well, whoever had it before. So this is a very stiff ride, and we're gonna be changing all that. So it's pretty simple. 2 bolts, your tower mount, then you need a spring compressor, take your shock out, and it should be simple. So let's start with the shock. Let's take that one out first, see if it comes out. All right, so first things first, we're gonna start with our 1/2" impact. You don't have to, you could do this with manual tools. I just prefer the speed of impact. Seems to get everything done faster. All right, after you get these 2 off, we're gonna go back down the shock, down to these nuts, one on each side. This one I'm gonna get through with the wrench, and on the back side I'm gonna use an extension, and the impact, these are still 1/2". So let me see if I can place you somewhere we can see. Probably not, so I'm just gonna do this part and come back to the video and show you when it's off. All right, so skipped a few steps, but I got the bottom two nuts out. This one in the back, you can't see it, but it's behind this little round pipe that goes through here. That's the nut. You can see the two bolts on the shock. The orange pieces are the bolts. Well, to get to that one, I had to jack up the lower, compress the spring, and it shifts this part a little bit forward so you could get to the nut. If not, you can't get a socket on it or a wrench. But once I did that, it came out. And then with the helper springs, the shock only comes out after this tower is off. So it's a two-piece tower. This part slides on and this one goes over. And this bolt was spinning. You can see it just spins in there. Well, this one doesn't. But all they do is just slide in and they lock in. That one fell out after I got it out. But to get this one on, the nut off, I had to put a pry bar under here, pry up on the plate, create tension, which acted as a lock on this bolt. And luckily the nut came off. If not, I would have had to cut the nut off, which is fine because we're not reusing these. But that's more work. And then after you get that off, you hopefully pull the shock out, which I just did. You can see better what I'm talking about with those two bolts that sit in there and the nuts go on. Surprisingly, the rubber's still good on those. And the spring on top is not going to be on yours, most likely. It's a helper spring. And this is the spacer that pushes up against this tower. But once that's off, you can put your spring compressor down in there. They make a tool. Let me set this down real quick. They make a tool that goes in here and has two hooks and sits right here and it pulls it up. I believe that's how it works, or it might have two on top and two on bottom that pulls it. I don't have that one. The one I do have is this pretty standard spring pressure. I'm not sure if it will work with those springs. We're gonna try it though. If it does work, I'll show you. If it doesn't, then I have to go to the auto parts store and rent one. So let's see. All right, so I was able to get the spring out with just the regular spring tools. I will say it was much more difficult with these than it would have been with the proper spring compressor. However, I'm stubborn and I didn't want to take the 5-minute drive to the auto parts store to rent it. But it's doable. With just these, you have to use some redneck ingenuity, but we got it. You do have to take off this spring cover, dust cover, whatever. That goes into those holes right there. It's hard to miss. You'll definitely see it when you're down here. Very easy, 1/2 inch both sides. And now that that's off, we can start doing the fun stuff. Installing the nice shocks. Now, it's up to you, your call whether or not you want to paint the inside of this. Having those brand new nice shocks. Coilovers. I don't know if you want to do it with the ugly crud that's in there. I'm probably going to clean it up and paint it black probably, but no one will really ever see it anyway once I get the wheel tucked in there. So it's one of those things where you just have to decide whether or not you're going to do it. So let's go ahead and jump into the fun. I almost forgot to mention, before you move forward, you got to take this piece off. That goes in like that, or the opposite way, goes in like that. And what you gotta do to get this out, you gotta jack up this whole arm, but it's gonna be easy because there's no shock or spring. And then you can get to the nuts. You're not gonna loosen the bolt heads because those are stuck in. You're just gonna loosen the nuts and then it just falls right out. All right, so next step, we're gonna go into installing the new tower brace. And the instruction just says to remove this brace that comes and it bolts up top here. Mine doesn't do that. Mine's welded and has two bolts that bolts onto here. This is the only part that's not solid to the car, it's just bolted. So I'm gonna be skipping that step. And then you also have to drill out these holes, make them bigger for the new hardware. What I used was a Dremel, and it just takes off a little bit of metal at a time. So that way you don't have to drill and you can keep it real precise. You kind of see where I took off some metal. And now this goes in perfectly. So next, You're gonna put this on with the flat end toward the fender. Then you're gonna drop this bolt in, one washer on top. Then it says to put, excuse me, it says put 3 washers in between this ring and this plate. So 3 washers, give or take. You might need more, you might need less, they said. So, but 3 to start off with, and then another washer on the nut. So I'm gonna get this installed and show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, so we got the tower mount installed. Getting ready to install the coilover now. As you can see, we got the 3 bolts in, and you can see why we needed the 3 washers, because the gapping was just off where the old bolts used to go. So we tightened that down, torqued it to spec, and now this goes on the coilover with the dampener adjustment pointing out towards you. Now these little pieces do come off, so make sure when you cut the zip tie that you still have both these and you don't lose them, because that's what's gonna keep the tension in between and not have slack in your coil. So now we're gonna install that, and I'll show you right now. All right, so I'm gonna feed the coilover from underneath. You're gonna need the biggest bolt in the kit, and that's gonna go right here. You need the one washer on the bolt side and 1 washer on the nut side, and it's a locking nut. You can put Loctite on if you want. I don't think we'll need it. We'll see how tight it gets and how easy it threads on. But it doesn't matter which way you put the bolt. I like the clean side pointing out and the ugly side with the threads pointing back away from people. It's personal preference, really. It doesn't say exactly how they want it, and it doesn't say that it matters. So now I'm gonna fish the coil up. You can do this with one hand. However, it's nice if you have another person helping you. All right, now you can let go now that that's in. Let's get a close up. You can see I got both ends smooth in. Once you put that nut torque down, it's gonna squeeze these ends together and create a nice hug on here. For now, we're just gonna hand tighten it. We're not gonna torque it down until we get the base installed. So that's enough right there. That's all we need. Once it starts spinning the whole thing, you're good. Now you can come down here, jack up the bottom, connect it to this plate, and you'll be rocking and rolling. After that, you figure out how high you want your shock to be. You'll be good. So let me go ahead and install those bolts, jack it up, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, now I got the bottom bolts in and the top bolts. I ended up taking off the top bolt so that I could line the bottom bolts in easier. So I ended up putting the bottom bolts in first, torquing it, then jacking the whole thing up until it aligned perfectly up in here. And then all I had to do was just wiggle it back and forth, put a little screwdriver head in there and push, and the bolt went right in. And then after you get it all installed and torqued, you want to adjust this 4 to 5 clicks to the right, and that'd be to the seats of the car. And the reason you do that is because 4 to 5 is recommended for street driving. It's the more clicks you go clockwise, the more stiffer it's going to get. Now you can play along with it. I'm starting at 4 and 5, and then I will adjust it if I need to as I drive. But if I don't need to, and it's perfect, then I call that a win. Now, I already adjusted my height that I want it. This is just a rough estimate. It's not guaranteed, so I'm not going to tighten this Allen screw yet because I don't know if this is exactly where I want it. Because I haven't dropped the motor in, so that's going to play a factor in how low it is. But for now, that's where I'm going to leave it. And then I'm not going to bore you with doing both sides of the vehicle because they're the exact same, but that is all you need to do. Copy this video to the passenger side and you'll be golden. All right, so thanks a lot for following this video. I hope it helped you This is my first time installing it, and I think I did a pretty good job. The kit's so simple, it's really hard to mess up, and the customer service at Aldan American is so helpful that any questions you may have, I'm sure they'd be glad to help and lead you step by step. So I want to give a thanks to Bronco Batty for letting me use her YouTube account to help y'all, because that's really what this is all about, is just helping y'all in the future and hopefully make it easier on y'all and not struggle the way we first timers struggle without any YouTube help. So if you could just leave a like, comment, and subscribe to her page. She's an amazing person, and check out her Bronco build while you're at it. Thank y'all. Have a good day.